Hey there, it's Holly from Contento, and today I'm going to show you how to use our BlockMatcher component. So BlockMatchers can be really useful because they give your editors some flexibility when they're creating new pages, because as the developer can give them a range of blocks to choose from, and they can move them around and mix and match and create new layouts from a predetermined set of options. So today what we're going to do is use the basic starter kit to build from. So if you want to follow along, if you go into your team, click Create New Site, into the starter kits, and then select the basic one. There is a guide that accompanies this kit that will get you up and running, and once you are, you'll have something that looks a little bit like this. Once you get to this stage, what we're going to do is add a few new content blocks from our library. So if you go into the library, then into content types, today we're going to add the hero section. And also the logo block, just to give us a couple of options. Great, and then if you go back into your starter kit, and we're just going to double check that those are now available in our content types. Great, so they're all here. We've got the hero block, which has a nested button, and the logos block, which has nested logo. So what we need to do now is make sure these are accessible within the general page template. So at the moment, all we've got is this title field, and that is displaying the text here. So what we're going to do is add a blocks field, and we're going to call this content, because this is going to be all the main content for the page. We're going to make it required, and then we're going to add the hero block and the logos block that we have just added. You click save. And then what I'm going to do is quickly just create some content, and I'll speed this up so it's not boring for you. Great, so once we've created a bit of content, we now need to go to the code base and implement the BlockMatcher. So what we're going to do first is create a new folder to keep our components in. I'm going to create a BlockMatcher file here. And then if you go to the Contento docs, you'll see there is a code snippet for you to copy and paste, and we're just going to pop that into that file. So you'll get a few errors here, but we'll sort those out shortly. So the next thing we're going to do is add another folder called blocks to keep our block components together in, and the first one we're going to create is the hero block. Again, if you go to the Contento docs, you will find that there is a hero component code snippet for you to copy, and I'll copy and paste that in. We've also got a nested button block within this file, so we're just going to create that one as well. And you should be able to copy that from the Contento docs as well. So finally, we just need to do our logos block. And we'll just grab that one from the Contento docs, copy the code snippet, and pop that in here. So what we need to do now is get rid of the example imports in the BlockMatcher, and we'll get rid of these two here. So the first one that we're going to import, this is the hero block, and this is the content type handle that's coming from the CMS. And then this is the name of the component. Great, so I'll import that. And then we'll just copy and paste that and create another case for the logos block. Great, so that is all of our blocks we've just added to the CMS, now present in our BlockMatcher. So now we need to implement the BlockMatcher. At the moment on page.tsx, we are just outputting the title field from the general page. And what we need to do is output the BlockMatcher instead. Now, because we're using Contento Live Preview, we don't want to do it here because this is this will be server-side rendered, and in order for the live preview to work correctly, it needs to be client-side rendered. So what we're going to do is within the components, we're going to create a new directory called pages, and then we're going to create a file called generalpage.tsx. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to copy and paste this in from one of our other starter kits. But it looks a little something like this. So essentially what this is doing is client-side rendering, and we are passing in the content object that we received from the API in page.tsx, and we are using that within the use live preview function that you can get from the Contento Next SDK. Within the main return, that's where we're going to use our BlockMatcher component, and we're going to pass in that block we created earlier. If you remember, we had the title field and then we made the content field, which was a block, and that's it here, this content. And then within that, you have the different block options that we have added. So in this case, the hero and the logos. So the last step should be just to update page.tsx, because at the moment we're just outputting that title field, and instead we want to output the general page component that we just created. And we need to pass in the initial content prop, and we're passing in the content object that we've already fetched above. So all being well, there we go, a little bit of a refresh. Now you can see our hero block and our logo block. I've also installed Tailwind and Prose with this template just so that the stylings come through from the code snippets. I'll leave you a link to those in the description. So that's how you implement our BlockMatcher, and if you go back to your site in Contento and check out the preview, you'll be able to see it here. And now if we swap these around, your preview will update, and the more blocks you add, the more blocks your editors have got as options to choose from when building new layouts. So our BlockMatcher component and the selection of code snippets is a great place to start just to get your site built, and then you can add all your own styles and make it look nice and fancy. So I hope this was helpful, and thanks very much for watching.